Hi guys, and welcome to episode number 59 of the Junkie Podcast. My name is Amber. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much for checking me out. And if you're a returning viewer, we haven't seen Lucy in a while. This is my Mastiff, Lucy. She's my best friend, and she's going to give me her paw, and she's going to give me her other paw. And she would be a lap dog if it weren't for her 95-pound size. She's like not very much smaller than I am. Get down, I don't want you in my face. So I have quite a bit to show you guys today. It's been about a month since I last recorded. Totally not my intention, but it's just summer hours, you guys. So my girls both had end of year, no, we're not gonna do paws. We're not gonna do high fives, go lay down. My girls both had end of year field trips, and they both actually had graduation. Prudence, my youngest, graduated from kindergarten, and then Atrilla, my oldest, graduated from 5th grade. So next year she's going to be officially in junior high, which just totally freaks me out. Like, I can't believe she's going to be in junior high. And I did announce last time, I think, that I am currently 11 weeks today, 11 weeks pregnant with our third baby that's due in December. So we're pretty excited about that, and this weekend's going to be crazy. We've got family coming in from New Mexico, so I had to quick sit down and record before the stuff piled up on me anymore. If you're a podcaster, you know, things just start to pile up to talk about, and it's getting crazy. So I'm going to take a sip, and then I'm just going to jump right in. It is June 7th. I think my last episode was almost exactly a month ago. And I haven't done a lot of knitting. It seems like I should have more to show for being out a month. But places you can find me, that's where I was going. I am Yarn Junkie with the number 6 on Ravelry. There is a Yarn Junkie podcast group. I do have a Box of Socks cowl currently going. So if you're knitting your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, whoever, if you're knitting them socks, your significant other, enter those into the partner box of socks. It's going to be a year-long knit-along. There's not really any restrictions, just you can knit ankle socks, you can knit full-size socks, just knit socks, and however many you knit is great, and there's been a lot of chatter in that thread, so I appreciate everyone who's been posting in that thread. Roger just walked downstairs. It's really early in the morning, and now he wants to go outside, and Lucy's drinking. Chaotic dogs, guys. But also I can be found on Instagram is by far where I'm most active, and on there I am _yarnjunkie. So if you'd like to follow me, you may do so. Okay, so these, I feel like the world's worst person. I have crocheted these for 2 different friends for their babies, and their babies are not newborns anymore. They're getting kind of older, and I really need to mail these, but I also really wanted to show them off before I did. I did show the bunny last time. I hadn't sewn on any eyes or the nose. Maybe she was missing an ear still. I'm not sure, but she is finished. She's got a little bunny tail, and I even washed it with my wool wash because it was just less than fresh. You know, when your hands get kind of clammy and stuff when you're working on projects, and I just didn't want that to go to a new baby being like all sweaty, for lack of a better term. But she is done now, and she is washed, and it was crazy rainy here for the past like week and a half, so I couldn't wash her and lay her out because of the humidity until about 2 days ago. But she dried it very quickly, so I'm very happy with that, and she is going out in the mail today. So, and the other one I finished, I think I showed you guys as maybe a whip, is this little bear. And I called the yarn the wrong thing like a million times. This is actually Vivid yarn, and I think I called it Yarn Ink last time. It's Vivid yarn in colorway B Splat. So it's the one that Miss Brown's bag, Jody from the Grocery Girls, had in her kits. And I'm not in 100% happy with how I worked this guy up. First, It's for a baby, so I'm being my own worst critic at this point. But his tail's a little crooked, and one of his eyes is placed higher than the other. And it's definitely not perfect, but I think the baby will love it. And I also am kind of concerned with my yarn choice because I used Stellina. This yarn has Stellina in it. Is that going to be okay for a baby to chew on and play with and stuff? Because some of the pieces of Stellina are in there really good, but then some are like, I'm going to put a warning. The mom is also a knitter, so I'm sure she'll keep the proper eye on it. And here comes one of my girls downstairs waking up for the day. We'll see if they'll let me record this or not. So those are the two finished objects I have. I think that's it. And then a friend of mine who works for madtosh, Madeline Tosh Yarn, she works at the actual place where they dye yarn. It's really close to Fort Worth, so she sometimes goes to our knit nights and stuff. But she texted me a few weeks ago and asked me if I could work up a sample for her. And I said, I would love to. So I didn't have very much time to get these finished. I think she messaged me at the very last few days of May, and we met up, and I got the yarn from her, and I have to get them back to her by tomorrow. So I'll probably go meet her maybe tonight because we have family coming in tomorrow, just so it's out of the way and done. But I did get one finished, and I have a way better picture of this on my Ravelry. Or my Instagram is what I meant to say. I need to create a project page for it. This yarn is actually their new work sock base. And so it is a heavy fingering to a sport, is what it says. Work sock, 75% merino, 25% nylon, heavy fingering, sport weight, 400 yards, 365 meters. So... and it's the colorway Bona Drag. And they have new labels, so madtosh, isn't that cool? But here's the yarn, and it's mostly a brown base with heavy speckles of purples and yellows and reds. It's actually really beautiful, and my camera is not doing it justice at this point. That's pretty accurate right there. So it's just this really nice taupey brown with all of these shots of color throughout. And I've really enjoyed working this up. These worked up fairly quickly. I haven't had a lot of knit time. That's another thing. I got a job at a local nursery out here, like a plant place, if you don't know what a nursery is. I said it to somebody else and they were like, oh, you're working with babies again? Not that kind of nursery. So here's where I am on my second sock. So I have like maybe 3 or 4 more rows before I start the toe, which I can just sit down and bang out as soon as I get done recording and upload this. But this one has quite a few more speckles in some places, and I really enjoyed working this up. Let me see if I can zoom in. So it's been quite enjoyable, and it's really super thick. So I think these would be a perfect pair of winter socks if you live in a cold climate. The work sock would be and they're not like too thick to go in your shoe either. But I enjoyed working those up, and I'll be glad that I can get them done as for the deadline that she gave me. So, because I was pretty nervous about that. I was like, I don't know if I can knit that fast. I can knit fast, it's just having the time to knit, especially with my girls home for summer. We go to the pool every day, which this is a great pool project. Oh, I have to talk about this. So in my bag, in my camping bag, we actually also took a camping trip just recently. And this was a gift from my friend Sam in a swap we did. And Knitty by Nature has these Happy Camper Progress Keeper zipper pull things. But we just went on a camping trip, so that was in here so I could take it with us. And of course, when I go camping, I hardly ever knit. I just don't have the energy after. We actually went on a backpack camping trip and walked like 2.5 miles into the primitive trail and then had to hike back out. the girls did really well. But I never suffered from morning sickness at all with my girls' pregnancies. This pregnancy, for the past 2 or 3 weeks, peppermint tea, and pretzels have basically been my lifeline to feeling normal. I don't have morning sickness. I have afternoon sickness. I get totally ill right around, you could set your clock by it. I mean, it's noon or 12:30. I go downhill from there and don't usually feel better until well after supper time. So it has not been very much fun. But something else I've been working on kind of intermittently is this little cardigan. I'm gonna have to let him out. Be right back. Okay, watch. I just let Roger out, and in about 2 minutes from now, he's gonna be scratching to be let back in. But I was just trying to show you my sweater. It's the baby vertebrae. And Mina Phillip was actually just talking about items that she found really useful for her new baby and things that she knit, and she brought up the baby vertebrae, which I had plans to knit. So look at that sweet little baby. The yarn I chose is this gray. I would really like to not find out the gender of the baby until it's born. We did that with my first, and I thought it was like the best surprise ever, and my husband really enjoyed it too. With my second, we did find out, and I mean, I like shopping and stuff, but it's just such an exciting thing to be told in the delivery room. It's a girl, or it's a boy, or whichever. I only have 2 girls now, but my daughters and my husband want to know like as soon as we can find out. So I'll see if they make me cave. But here's how far along I am on the baby vertebrae. So it's an open front cardigan, and I chose this gray because I love gray on babies, and it's gender neutral, so I could not find out. But that's where I am with it. I am knitting the 0 to 3 month size, not the newborn size. I think I've talked about how I don't have newborn size babies. Both my girls were actually quite large when they were born, so I'm knitting a little bit bigger, and even if the baby doesn't fit into it when it's brand new, I'm having a December baby, we're gonna have at least 2 months of wear out of a little cardigan like this. And I chose fingering weight because we live in Texas and it can be 30 degrees or it can be 80 degrees in December. I'm not even joking. But here is I used this yarn in my fade. I also knit a pair of Rose City rollers, and I still have quite a bit left over. So this is going to be the collar, the cuffs, and the bottom ribbing. So it is the Bohemia Fibers in a colorway that she dyed for me based off a picture I took of the lake at sunset. So I really love this colorway, and I thought it would be really nice to go with the gray. But that's where I am, and this yarn is a madtosh twist sock in colorway charcoal, I want to say. Yep, that's right. So twist light in colorway charcoal. And I can't really remember why I originally bought this yarn, but that's not what I used it for, so. And I have that in my Suburban Stitcher bluebonnet bag. I missed the bluebonnets already. So bluebonnets bloom here from March to end of April. And I really love this bag. And the next thing I've been working on is a pullover for myself because, you know, I'm not going to be able to wear this thing for like 2 years. It's crazy. I also have mints in here. There's mints in all my project bags. But I can't remember if I had started this last time I recorded, or I don't think I had. I think I started it right after. But it's the So Faded by Andrea Mallory. And I didn't print out any of the pictures. I just printed out the instructions. But you know what it looks like. It's been all over the interwebs. Everyone is knitting it, just like everyone knit the shawl. And I really like the idea behind this sweater, because how many single skeins of sock yarn do you have in your stash where you're not going to use it, or you're not going to use it for what you thought you would use it for? And that's kind of what happened with these. I had this one, which was a gift, and it is the Euro sock, madtosh. This is the madtosh show. Madtosh Euro sock, which I'd never knit with before, but I really liked the color. This is the cold shoulder colorway. And then I had this skein from the Homespun House Tim Burton Yarn Club that has all of these different shots of purple and mauve and yellow. There's some gold in there, which I really love. And then I had this skein of Wool and Vine Poe. You guys, it was like fated to be. These needed to be a sweater together. I really like the transition between them all. Something that bums me out a little bit about this variegated color, and I would have probably gotten further along on this, but it's starting to pull a bit in some places, and I'm just not a fan of pulling, you guys, especially on like a hat or a sweater. And other places it looks really great, like here. I love that transition. I love how it just, and I did use my first color for longer. I think it tells you to switch somewhere in the sleeves, and I just didn't want to hassle with that, so I knit the entire portion of the sleeve separation and then started my fade. But that's where I am on that. It will fit again eventually, but you know, with the pregnancy weight gain and then the breastfeeding, my size will not be my size for quite a while. But by the time I fit back into this, it will be a welcome sight in my wardrobe to be able to put on this sweater. So I'm going to get up a little up close to these colors. And I'm really loving this. I would definitely call this a beginner sweater. I think that anybody can knit this. It is so easy. I'm definitely going to knit it again, but one thing I'm going to do differently is I'm not going to do the garter sleeves. That's just not something that I like. And I thought about omitting it the first time, but I thought, oh, I'll just knit exactly as the pattern says. I don't want to have to think about it. There's Roger. It's been a little bit longer than a minute. But I'm knitting this on my carbons. I think these are the interchangeable. Yep. Size 4. I think the pattern calls for a size 5, but with my gauge, that would have been way too loose for a pullover for my liking. And so I sized down, and then I just sized up. I think the pattern says, there's measurements somewhere, but I don't think I even have that page. Oh yeah. 30, you can knit a 30, a 34, a 38, or a 42, or a 46, 50, 54. I am in between a 30 and a 34, usually like right around a 32 is my bust size before pregnancy, but I wanted it to be just a little bit looser. It's styled in Andrea's photos like she has a top under it, so I wanted to be able to wear something under it if I wanted or not, and so I knit the 34. And that's all in my fringe supply bag. Have y'all seen those new charcoal bags? I need one. I don't really, but I want one. What else? I guess that brings me to acquisitions, but I'm going to stop it right here and let Roger in, so he's not being crazy and scratching the door. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I have quite a bit of acquisitions, and I've been really good. I have not broken my yarn diet. I just have some really, really, truly amazing knitty friends, and they all sent me stuff. Well, one of the things I won a giveaway on Instagram. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I meant to get in touch with Taylor because she said that she would get y'all a coupon code for her shop, but I'll do that later. I'm just gonna jump right in. The first thing I got was this amazing skein of yarn from Naughty Knitwit. Michelle of the Naughty Knitwit podcast, Michelle and Leslie, but Michelle sent me this. She's got this little Naughty Knitwit zipper pull or progress keeper, and she sent me this gorgeous skein of yarn. Atrella just swooned over this and said she would like a hat, so maybe a sockhead hat for her. It is kind of blowing out just a little bit. This is a very rich orange, and it's showing up more peach in my camera. It might correct itself by the time I upload. But this is another skein from Bohemia Fibers, which I love her yarn, and it's just got these magentas and this beautiful blue, which I know this is why Atrella loves it. And it's just a really awesome skein of yarn. And she sent me this amazing note, all typed on paper, or like typed out, just explaining that, you know, she actually lost her mom too, years before I lost my mom. And I said I wouldn't cry, but I might, so forgive me if I start crying and my mascara gets my eyes black. She just said that, you know, she knows how a lot of times we'll buy yarn to fill this void that we can't fill because this person is missing in our lives. And she knows that right now, even though I'm really excited about my pregnancy and my next chapter in life, how hard it is because I can't share with this one person that I want to talk to most. And that's so true because I feel like I've cried more in the past 5 weeks over my mom's passing than I have in the past year. It's just incredibly hard not to have her here to experience and enjoy this with me because she would have been over the moon about my pregnancy, and she really wanted us to have another baby for years after I had Prudence, and she'd have just been thrilled. She was an amazing grandmother, and every time she would come out, like as much as she possibly could, she would come and visit and stay the weekend and take the girls fishing and bring them like little treats and trinkets. And it drove me nuts then because I'm like, Mom, stop bringing all this junk. But it's one of the things that I miss the most about her is just like her just showing up randomly with all this stuff for the kids, or even for me. She would just bring me random things that she knew that I would like. So I won't apologize for crying because someone messaged me a really sweet note and told me not to apologize because y'all understand like how hard it is. But her note just made me bawl, and that was just incredibly touching and sweet. And I really love this skein of yarn, Michelle, and I'm sorry to you too. And I'm glad that we made the connection that we made, and the friendship that we have is very dear to me. So. Let me compose myself. I'm gonna have a sip. I'm drinking coffee, however, I've only been able to tolerate it for probably the past week. For like 3 or 4 weeks there, I couldn't stand coffee. I would still brew it in the mornings because I would want to smell it, so it wasn't like making me nauseous, but I just didn't like the taste of it at all. It was just very off-putting to me, which is insane because I drank coffee the entire time I was pregnant with both girls. And yeah, the next thing I got was from my dear sweet friend Melissa from Knitty by Nature, and she sent me quite a few things actually. Where'd my other pin? Okay. She sent me a few of these pins on my bag. So crocheting is my jam. She sent me this one a while back, but she has it in this background too. Spinning is my jam. And then knitting is my jam, which I'm going to save this knitting one for a giveaway. I'm really close to 2,000 subscribers, and I've been podcasting for just now 2 years. By June 2nd, 2015 was my first podcast. So I'm going to try to come up with something to do a giveaway on the next episode. And she also sent this gorgeous skein of yarn. She has this dyed by Dogstar Knits, but she sells it in her shop, which is the Knitty by Nature shop on Etsy. And it's colorway Pinky Swear. And she sent this really cool little tag that says Knitty by Nature. And I just love this skein of yarn so much. She's knitting a shawl, one of Amy Meek's designs. So if you follow Knitty by Nature on Instagram, her shawl is gorgeous. And this is just so fun with all the pinks and the splashes of purple on the cream. I'm not sure what it will be yet. Probably a pair of socks. I was thinking maybe even like a lacy or just, a patterned pair of socks, but I'm just not sure yet. So it's gonna languish in the stash probably for a bit because I have other projects that are in my head that I want to knit. But thank you so much for that, Melissa. She also sent me this beautiful lavender sachet, and I think these are from Steel City Stitcher. I think that's right. She's recently started making those, and I know her and Melissa go to the same knit group, and she buys a lot of her stuff. But it's purple, and it smells beautiful, and I've actually had that in my Find Your Fade project bag. And then she also sent me this little felted bird, this little ornament, which is beautiful, and I try to have, we probably won't do it this year, but when we go to New Mexico, I take a little tree and I put handmade ornaments on it for our cabin when we go skiing. And this will definitely go on that or maybe just hang up around just all the time because that's not really Christmassy and it's beautiful. So I thank you so much for those treasures. Atrella really liked the bird. She wanted to keep it for herself. And then her amazing card, it matched the lavender sachet, which I just thought was really cool. And her sweet note was very nice. And I just love the butterfly. And I just love cards that people send. And I keep them all. I have quite a collection of cards from people, which makes me happy. So the next thing I got was my giveaway prize. And that's from Fiber for the People. I want to give away, you go to Instagram and it's like, okay, tag 3 friends and like this post and be entered. So I always do that. I never do the reshare ones because, quite honestly, I'm really lazy and I can't be bothered to reshare stuff unless it's one of my really dear friends and they ask me to because I have done that for people. But Taylor didn't make you do that. You were just to like and, tag people. And I won 2 skeins of yarn. I'm going to go ahead and pop everything out of here. I've been keeping it under wraps because I wanted to keep everything really nice. But she sent some of those light bulb stitch markers, which are one of my favorite kinds. I really love all stitch markers, let's be honest. She has her card in here, Fiber for the People, and I love that name. I just want to fist pump every time I say it. Fiber for the People. Hand dyed in the American Southwest. She is out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Not really Las Vegas, I think it's Henderson is where she lives, which is close to Vegas. She sent a sticker. I love stickers, you guys. Actually, my computer, the whole front of it is covered in stickers. And if you can hear the musical melody now, Prudence has turned herself on a movie. That's her coffee in the morning. She has a little movie and a little snack. She sent me this tea, peppermint licorice. I'm so surprised I haven't drank this yet because, like I said, I've been living on peppermint tea. I'm going to have her turn it down one sec. I'm going to pause. Okay, we'll see if that's a little bit better. She sent a little postcard that she has. Thanks for supporting this small business. There is a code on the back of here, but I don't know if she wants me to use that one or if she wants to have one specifically for the podcast. She did say when I show it off to tell her, and she'll give me a giveaway code. So look for that when I upload this, I always copy paste it into Ravelry. And maybe I'll attach the coupon code there in the episode show notes that I never write, but there will be some. So she sent me these 2 gorgeous skeins of yarn, and before I got them, my first opinion was going to be that I would give one away to you guys and keep one for myself. However, I'm going to be totally selfish here and keep both of them because they're different bases and because I really want to work them up to see how much I like them. So I hope you can understand that. This one is Cactus Flower, and it's 360 yards. It's an 80-20 superwash Highland wool and nylon. Nice. And she even has the dye date on here, which was 4/30/17, and I love this. Cactus flower is really great, a great name for a yarn colorway, but I also, long story short, I think I've mentioned this when I was knitting my featherweight cardigan because that was the cactus flower colorway too. But my husband calls me prickly pear because we have a lot of prickly pears in our neighborhood, and he says that I'm beautiful but pokey. So just like a cactus flower, because they bloom these beautiful blooms, and right now they're starting to come up, the blooms are. And by August, September, they'll have little prickly pears on them. And the prickly pears, I've actually made jam several times. And so, cactus flower. It's green and magenta and orange. Really all my favorite colors. All my favorite colors in one yarn. I really love that. I'm thinking about maybe doing, Amber from Maker's Haven podcast has a new sock pattern called the Strawberry Fields socks. And it's just this really pretty lacy sock pattern. It's a free pattern. And I thought I might knit those up with this. I don't know if this is going to be too variegated for that, but we'll see. I definitely don't mind knitting stuff, and I love her labels too. It's just so simple and beautiful. So the other one is Spring Drop Cloth. It's 462 yards, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, which, if I'm being honest, this is my preferred base to knit socks on. I just really love how clean and beautiful the stitches come out. But look at this color. It's just so muted and beautiful, and unlike anything that I would buy in a shop myself. But I thought this would be a really cool, I think their socks are called speckled space socks or something. I thought those would work up beautiful, like using that pattern. And it's got a very creamy base with shots of yellow throughout, and then it's just speckled with green and red and a drop cloth. It's a drop cloth. Her dyeing is amazing. It's amazing, Taylor, if you're watching. I really, really thank you for this giveaway. So those are the other two skeins of yarn that I got. I'm telling you guys, look at all these little yarn babies. My heart is exploding. So the last, oh, and here's Taylor's card she sent me. The girls loved this. It's from Knit Picks. But I'm going to have to get some of these. They were like, that's a photo of a sheep. I said, yes, it is. They were very impressed, and she wrote a sweet note. So, the last thing I got, I seriously cried when I opened it, and her note was just beyond touching. And I'll just show you. I think I've talked about my penny floor that I'm doing in my remodel house. I've definitely posted a ton of pictures to my Instagram if you want to go take a look. But I was doing, in my laundry room, I laid down pennies for flooring. It is very cheap. I got the idea from Pinterest. Everyone always is like, oh my God, where did you even think of that? Pinterest, of course. And it took me a couple of weeks to lay down all the pennies. I worked on it, sporadically. Some days I went days without working on it, and some days I worked on it every day for a few hours a day. And Nicole from Hue Loco was inspired by my penny floor and dyed up a kit. So she's dyed up several kits for the Find Your Fade sweater. So Faded sweater, that's what it's called. So Faded sweater. And she dyed up one after the copper penny. She called it copper penny after my penny floor. And I actually shared her photo with a portion of my floor because the colors just blew my mind. If I had my phone right here, I would try to pull up that photo, but I don't. So go to my Instagram and look at my floor and look at this kit, and you tell me, like, did she nail it or did she nail it? But even more than that, even more than me being inspiring to a dyer, that was enough right there. Like, I couldn't believe that she dyed a copper penny floor colorway. But I wasn't buying yarn, and I was trying to be really good, and I definitely didn't need a sweater's quantity worth of yarn. See that bag up there? That's sweater yarn that's been caked forever that I I've started a sweater a couple times. I have enough sweater yarn, is my point. I did not want to buy it, even though I was totally in love with it. She sent it to me, you guys. She sent me the entire kit of the copper penny colorway. Can you just, I can't even. Nicole, you just totally outdid yourself. I am so beyond touched that you would send this to me, that you would be inspired by me in the first place, because your stuff is just mind-blowing. And then to send it to me when this is your business, you know, you have a whole little family to support. And I was very touched. So these colorways are Patina, Marigold, Oak, With Age, and Pawn Life. And Estrella really liked Pawn Life, and she said, "Can you make me something?" I said, "No, they're staying all together. These are staying all together. I'm definitely going to knit another So Faded." So the other one that I have on the needles, I was going to do the crop version just because I only have 3 skeins of yarn. But now I can do a full sweater version. And I'm just going to pull these out because I don't feel like you can appreciate them. One of my dogs is lying on top of the other, biting her. So Bo, get down. Come here. Come here. Lay. Oh, I wish you could see them. They're so cute. I just mixed these up. I don't know which one's which now. So I think this is Patina. Yes. Okay, so the Patina one totally blows my mind because you see these shots of purple? I like pennies that have shots of purple in them. And it's just got all of these different speckled. I love it. I love it. And I don't know which way I'm going to knit it yet. And then this one is the Marigold. And it's got greens and yellows. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And then the next one is Oak, which is definitely leans more green and blue. Look at that. I love that. And it has the yellows in it still. So. And then the next one is With Age. And then the last one is Pawn Life. So I'm thinking I'll knit it this way, but I don't know. I could change my mind and knit it this way. What do y'all think? Yeah, maybe this way. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to make myself crazy trying to decide. But thank you so much, Nicole. I don't know if you're even watching this, if you have time with your crazy hectic schedule to sit down and watch podcasts, but I really, really appreciate that. And it's her 80-10-10 Superwash Merino Cashmere Nylon, 400 yards per skein. So I think it's like 2,000 total. It's 2,000 yards total. So plenty for the full sweater, especially for me. I think for anybody, really. So that was just a blessing beyond belief. And like I said, her card, I think these came from Jody, made me cry. She talked about some personal things that we have in common, and it just made me cry. The very last thing I got, so I tried to be a part of the Cool Kids Club and order a book, the Knit for Health and Wellness book, but for some reason, the mindfulness in knitting, I went to Barnes & Noble and I looked for the book and they didn't have it, so I went to the register to ask them if they could order it for me. And I have this one on my Amazon, like, wish list, and this is the one that was in my head instead of the Knit for Health and Wellness. So this is the one that I ordered, and when I went back to pick it up, I was like, that's not the book that everybody's reading. But I do really like this book. It says Meditations on Craft and Calm, and it basically goes through history of knitting and a lot of different stuff. So if you enjoyed the Knit for Health and Wellness, I think that you would also really enjoy this. And it's a pretty thin book. I think it's only about 150 pages. I've only kind of leafed through it. I haven't really sat down and read it, but it's definitely going to be one of my summer reads, and I'm going to get the other book too, because let's face it, I love reading about knitting almost as much as I love knitting. So that is all I have to show you guys today. Thank you so much for sitting with me for a little bit and chatting about what I've been up to. If you would like to share any socks you've been working on or anything at all, hop on over to the Ravelry thread, message me on Instagram. I love hearing from you guys. Oh, that's one thing I forgot. And I should have printed all these out with their names. I've had quite a few people gift me patterns here lately. I know that Kay from, no, I'm totally blanking on what's your podcast name. I watch your podcast as soon as it comes out every time. Why don't I know what it's called? Kay, the crazy sock lady. She sent me a sock pattern because she knows I love the roller pattern so much, and Marina Breimer just came out with a new one called Aria. It's a really cool pattern, so thank you so much, Kay. Barbara from Knitting I Love over in Ireland, hi Barbara, sent me her new hat pattern called the Forgotten Path hat, I want to say, which was totally appreciated, and Atrella was very smitten with that, so I might knit that up for her. And another friend thought I could use a pick-me-up because of my morning sickness, and I wish I would have written your name down because I'm totally blanking. But she sent me a sweater pattern on Ravelry. What is this sweater? Greystone, the Greystone pattern. And I have had that in my queue or in somewhere, and I've been wanting to knit that. So that was very appreciated. I'm sorry that I'm blanking on your name. I'll be sure to write it down and thank you properly next time. And I think that's it, but I also think I'm missing one. I think I got another pattern from someone. So if I'm blanking on that, I will write it down and get with you next time to thank you properly. And I always message everybody as soon as they gift me something or send me something and thank them, but I also like to do it publicly because it's so beyond touching that someone thinks of me to send me something, to give me a pattern. I'm blessed, you guys. I'm so blessed to have y'all in my life and to care about what's going on in my life. And yeah, I'm going to stop rambling because it's getting ridiculous. But thanks so much for joining me. I will see y'all next time, whether that's in 2 weeks or a month. Who knows? Hopefully it won't be that long, but thanks so much for sitting with me and chatting. Till next time.